Ground ball. McClain, second. 12 in a row. The oldest team in professional baseball has its 5th ever winning streak of a dozen straight.
Our job every day is to try to kick somebody's ass. I mean, that's why we're here.
That is caught. Left center. Reds win.
And this ball is launched high and very deep to right, long gone. It's second of the night. Ellie De La Cruz.
Short lead for Pena. Larkin drills it. Do you believe this? That's going to be gone. Back to back. Walk-off home runs. How about this? He's back. He's back. He's back.
And a swing and a drive. Deep left field. This one belongs to the Reds. Swung on and hit deep to left field. That ball is going to be gone. Home run. And the Reds put it tied to 4.
Goes to second one. Around to first. Got a double play. And the Reds sweep the Cubs. Breaking ball. Hit high. Hit deep. Way back there. And gone into the second deck and left. Christian Encarnacion Strand walks it off.
Archer does it in his major league debut. He gets the final 3 outs, and the Reds get an extra inning win. A thriller 5-4.
Swung on. Fly ball. Hit to deep right field. That ball is going to be gone. A grand slam home run by Mike Cameron.
2 outs, 2 on. Reds down by 1. Larkin down the line. This will win it. This will win it. Here comes Tucker. Here comes Steins. Larkin's won the game. Barry Larkin gets mobbed. Look at this scene. It's synergy.
The stretch, the pause and the pitch. And a line drive, base hit left center field. A single for Aaron Boone. And this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won 8 in a row.
Kobayashi with a long look turns it loose, and Dunn hits it to deep right. It's all over. And this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won their 5th game in a row. They've defeated the Cleveland Indians on an Adam Dunn 3-run home run, 4-2. In on the corners at first and third. 2 on, nobody out. Here's Royce Ring pitching, no bunt. Ground ball by the third baseman into left field. Dave Bruce rounds third. This one belongs to the Reds.
That's it pretty good. Guess what? He doesn't need speed. That's gone. He's the king of the Queen City tonight.
With 1 out here in the 11th inning, you sure got to go now. 1 out, pull down the left field line. That ball is going to get the winning run in. Here comes Dave Bruce rounding third, heading toward the plate. And this one belongs to the Reds.
Huge situation for Votto. Why you paying the big bucks to deliver the goods with 2 outs in the 9th inning? Can he do it? In the gap, right center field, and Votto delivers the goods.
Hit deep center field. Hank Hill going back at the warning track. Oh, it's gone. Joey Votto is delivered.
Reds fans, what's going on? Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another Chatterbox Reds pregame show. I'm Hunter Hurst. He's Max Alfonso on the right side of your screen. And Max, we were on here on Monday, and there was a lot of optimism. There's a lot of optimism headed into the biggest homestand of the year, and it has started off rough, to say the least. How are we feeling 48 hours removed from our show on Monday?
The vibes are definitely a lot lower. You go on Twitter last night, and all it is just, the Reds are going to sell, but they have no one to sell, and it's just that's pretty much all it was last night. It was kind of, I don't think they're going to be sellers. We'll get more into that as the show goes on, probably. But yeah, I mean, the vibes aren't great.
Certainly not great. The vibes felt awesome last night whenever Matt McClain hit a first inning home run, and then very quickly the first inning lead turned into, as the kids say, belt to ass, as the Marlins just walloped the Reds. I don't even remember the final score. I think it was 12-2, 11-2, or something like that. But it was not good. But interesting note, though, Miami has won 11 straight road games. That's a franchise record for the Fish. What do you think the Reds have to do to right this ship? Because 5-2 is still in play if they win the next 5 games. on this homestand?
The lineup needs to wake up. It's been, in Philly after that Friday game, they didn't really hit well, especially Saturday and definitely not Sunday either. And it's kind of bled into this series here against Miami. And if they want any chance of like going into the break 5-2 or just winning tonight, they need to hit. And yeah, they'll face Sandy Alcantara. We'll talk more about him, but he struggled this year, so it's an arm they should hit, but, you look back on the last few years of Sandy's career, he's one of the best in the league, so it'll be a tall task, but the Reds lineup needs to wake up.
Yeah, 100% needs to wake up, and I really think it starts at the top. TJ Friedel, as Jacob Doyle said in the chat, last 2 weeks he's hitting 190, 3 runs scored with an RBI. Did have a double last night, but the last 14 days of TJ Friedel have just been pitiful. I mean, it's not a good tone setter when your leadoff man is unable to be a traditional leadoff man. He's not really getting on base. He's doing that thing where he kind of rolls over to first, it seems, and he's striking out a bit more. Have you seen anything from Friedel that is concerning outside of the lack of success lately?
Part of me just wonders if he's tired, because we've seen defensively too, he also has just had some weird plays lately. I think back to the Yankee series, the Red Sox series, where he just didn't get to balls that he normally gets to, and he's lost some speed over the last few years, but he just seems slow right now in every part of his game, and you kind of hope that the All-Star break can kind of reset him a little bit, because they're going to need him to play well if they're going to have any chance of um I want to say getting a wild card spot, but even like winning games. Like, he's very important to this team.
Yeah, definitely setting the table is just it's massive. I mean, it has to happen. And obviously, we'll go ahead and get into the lineup for the Reds. Friedel, obviously, the leadoff man in center. Matt McLean at second base, and then Ellie, Hayes, and Lux behind him. Spencer Steer, Tyler Stevenson, Will Benson, and Noelvi Marte are the bottom 4 in the lineup. Oddly enough, the same lineup that on Monday we said was one of the best of the year. They just haven't shown up in the last few days, and I think signs of life are needed, especially at the top. But Marte hasn't looked awesome since coming back, I don't think, personally. Made a nice defensive play last night after a really, really bad play on Monday, throwing the ball over Tyler Stevenson's head. But there's production that needs to uptick up and down the lineup 1 through 9. What do you think about this lineup tonight as Andrew Abbott's on the hill for the Reds?
I mean, the lineup is great. It's fine on paper, but then you get into the game, and lately it just hasn't been working. The McLean homer last night, the vibes were very high for me when that homer happened, and then 2 innings later, Martinez gets absolutely rocked, and that was the end of the good vibes. But if McLean can, put some things together here, you'll start to feel a little bit better, especially because Ellie hasn't been hitting well either, in the last week, I want to say, maybe a little less, but and then we talked about Friedel. So it's really that 1, 2, 3 that the Reds need to produce, because Tito's not going to take those guys out of the first 3 spots. We've done this dance the entire season. He changed McLean, but Friedel and Ellie have hit in the same spot all year. So they're going to need the top of the order to produce. Down to the bottom of the order, Benson just continues to hit the ball hard and just runs into some really bad luck. He hit a ball, I think it was right at the second baseman, and then the at bat before hit it to the track. It's it stinks what's going on right now. It's like every slump though, it'll pass, and eventually the Reds will break out, and hopefully tonight is that night.
Yeah, definitely so, because 5-2 is still attainable. We said we would. Obviously, the ceiling for this team so far this year has been that 4 games above 500 mark. Well, they're right at 500 right now, 46-46. You've got 70 games left in this season, and I feel like if you want to have that potential wild card spot that you're chasing or even play meaningful baseball in September, you've got to win at least 41, 42 of those, in my opinion, to put yourself in a position to where you have a chance to play baseball in October. And if the lineup doesn't wake up, it's bad news, and we're probably selling here in about 3 weeks. That's kind of the way that I look at it. But on a positive note, Andrew Abbott has been phenomenal this season. Wasn't phenomenal in his last start, but he is on the mound tonight for the Reds. What do you think about Abbott's last start in Philadelphia? Got roughed up a little bit and only threw, I believe, 66 pitches against the Phillies in a 9-6 win for the Reds.
Yeah, I think that was probably his worst start of the year, just based off of memory. I didn't really see anything. I'm not gonna act like I'm some pitching guru here, but I didn't see anything like super mechanical that was off. It's the Phillies are just a really good lineup, and the Phillies have a much better lineup than the Marlins. So I expect Abbott to pitch well tonight. He's probably a little high right now off the All-Star game nod, and I'm sure that kind of makes him want to pitch well. I think they said last night his family's in town. I don't know if that's normal, but family's in town, so maybe that's just some extra motivation for him. But I expect Abbott to pitch well tonight. He has a career ERA of almost 12 against the Fish, which is obviously a little worrisome, but Andrew Abbott's an all-star, and he's a really good pitcher, so I expect a good Abbott performance tonight.
Yeah, the main issue that he's had against the Marlins is that in 8 innings pitched, he's given up 5 homers. That's been his kind of bugaboo, so to speak, against this Marlins team. And looking at it, he got hit hard against Philadelphia. I would say probably his second worst start behind the one in Colorado, but that was in a driving rain out there at Coors Field. But we've seen him get hit hard also and have success. I remember the Cubs win on I believe that was the Saturday game earlier this year that he pitched against the Cubs. Got hit hard, but was able to make it through 5 and get outs and pitch around kind of some traffic on the base paths. And Miami loves to run. As soon as they get on base, they're running all over the place, and it would be beneficial for Abbott to not pitch out of the stretch much tonight and keep those guys off base. So I'm definitely looking for the first out of the inning from Andrew Abbott tonight as being probably that's the focal point, is getting that first out of the inning, because if not, it snowballs in a hurry. Just look at the 3rd inning for Nick Martinez last night.
Yeah, there's a chance that inning is still going. That inning it felt like a 45-minute just time frame where he just could not get a single out. We will move over to the Marlins. As I mentioned, Sandy Alcantara is the man for the Fish tonight. He has struggled this year coming off of Tommy John with an ERA near 7. In his last 2 starts, he's really struggled after performing a little bit better. But in the last 2 starts, he's given up 12 runs combined, and he struggled this year away from Miami with an ERA of almost 10 in 7 starts. So what do you think tonight about the Reds matchup against Sandy Alcantara?
So I actually looked at Sandy's Savant page earlier because I was wondering about this. Obviously, he was the National League Cy Young in 22. Kind of a rough year in 23, got knocked around a little bit and then missed all of last season. But looking at his Savant page, he's throwing his four-seam fastball about 7 or 8% more than he ever has. And that, in turn, has caused his changeup usage to go down by that same 7 or 8%, which his changeup for years has been his best pitch, kind of his calling card to go with that sinker combo. And obviously he throws the slider and the curveball along with those 3 pitches as well. But him not throwing changeups is huge for this Reds lineup, because I feel most of the time if the Reds see a changeup, they're out in front of it 90% of the time. So if Sandy's not leaning on that changeup, you can hunt the fastball and try to make some good hard contact against him like seemingly everybody else in the league has all year long. So especially at the top of the lineup with Friedel, I think it's super important to hunt that first pitch fastball and, try the ambush tactic and get all over Sandy and figure it out early. That way you're not playing catch up for the rest of the game as you have been so often lately.
Yeah, it seems like with Alcantara, his velocity's still there on the fastball. I believe he's still throwing around like 96, 97. He still can throw hard. It's just he just hasn't been getting the results. And tonight could be the night that he brings out that changeup. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I agree. It seems like every time the Reds face a big changeup or splitter guy, they just look terrible. So hopefully tonight it is a little bit different. I'll go ahead with the Marlins lineup, which is pretty similar. A lot of guys we've heard of this series. Xavier Edwards will lead it off and play second. Agustin Ramirez will play DH and hit second. Roberto Hernandez will play left and hit third. Otto Lopez, Eric Wagaman, Dane Myers are the heart of the lineup, and then Connor Norby, Derek Hill in center, and Nick Fortes behind the plate. Any takes about this Marlins lineup that is relatively familiar as to who's in it, I guess. Maybe the order's a little different, but the names are the same pretty much.
The only take I really have is that I'm really tired of watching Agustin Ramirez destroy Reds pitching. I mean, he's a highly touted prospect, no doubt, but this guy has just dominated against the Reds. Obviously, debuted against them earlier this season, and then this series, just destroying the ball. I mean, I know he had that high chopper double last night that, resulted in me turning the game off, but that's 3 extra base hits in 2 games in this series. And it's, again, him and Edwards at the top of the lineup are the guys you have to get out if you're Andrew Abbott, because they're table setters, especially Edwards with his, contact skills, and then Ramirez behind him, who you could argue outside of Stowers is the Fish's best hitter, and there's no Stowers in the lineup tonight. So Ramirez has to be gotten out by this pitching staff, or it's going to be yet another long night at GABP.
Yeah, when you look at this lineup for the Fish, there are no lefties in it. Xavier Edwards is a switch hitter, but it'll be all righties that Abbott will face tonight. And when you get into the bullpen later for the Reds, Kyle Stowers will be, I presume, available off the bench as well as Liam Hicks for the Marlins. So those are 2 bats that the Reds will need to prepare for late in the game if it's close. But hopefully it's not close. Hopefully the Reds can get to Sandy and Abbott can pitch well tonight.
Yeah. And once again, some Tyler Stevenson talk in the chat. Only has 1 home run since June 3rd. We talked about it Monday. We'll talk about it again. What do you are you seeing anything from Stevenson that concerns you? I mean, whether it's his approach, is there a hole in his swing that you're seeing, or is it just he's not getting the results? What are you seeing from Ty Steve since June 3rd, really?
I think he's taking a lot of fastballs, especially he got squeezed a little bit a few games ago, but still, like, I feel like I watch him strike out looking on a fastball more than anyone. And I don't know if, he just has lost confidence or something, but I think he'll be fine. I can't say I'm too worried about him. But there's nothing I've really noticed with his swing or anything like that. I think he's healthy. I think it's the results just aren't there right now, and they aren't for Trevino either when they've played him. He struggled a little bit as well. It has been a little bit interesting. He could be battling something because it seems like they're playing every other day right now. Like Stevenson, I think, got the off day Saturday or Sunday and then was off again yesterday. So it's a little interesting to me. He could be battling something, but no one's said anything. He's just been struggling.
Yeah, it just hasn't been good. I also feel like it would benefit him a lot to swing at first pitch fastballs. Whether you make contact or not, go up there and, he's a very patient hitter for the most part and always has been since he came up. I think it would be super beneficial for his confidence if he's able to get this first pitch sinker or 4-seamer from Sandy and just kind of tattoo one into that right center field gap like we've seen him do time and time again. I really think he's just thinking about it too much. If you remember earlier in the year, the at bat for Ellie in Atlanta in extra innings where he just swung at the first two pitches and then took a straight fastball down the middle from Iglesias for strike three. It was a 3-pitch strikeout in extras. Tyler Stevenson feels like he's on the complete opposite end of that spectrum, where he's taking a meatball for the first pitch, but then after that, he's just ready to swing at everything, and that's not beneficial to the kind of hitter that he is. So if he's able to use this ambush tactic that we've seen Gavin Lux have success with, Austin Hayes have success with, maybe he can kind of turn things around and get back into that patience that he is sort of known for at this level in his career.
Yeah, I've always thought he was a very solid hitter, at least a pretty good hitter for a catcher. But I don't know. He got hurt to start the year, and he just hasn't, I guess, gotten to a rhythm. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But he's been playing for a couple months now, so I definitely would like to see him, produce more. Is there anyone else in this lineup? Let's take out Friedel, McLean, and Stevenson. So out of Lux, Benson, Marte, who of those guys do you think, I guess, has the biggest ceiling in the second half of the season?
Biggest ceiling in the second half, I would probably say Noelvi Marte would be my pick. When he came up earlier in the year, was mashing the ball. Obviously, had that homer in Miami. I think he hit it 118 miles an hour or something like that into the seats. He hasn't been able to find a rhythm since coming back, given he has only been back since Friday. So we're talking a 5-game sample size here. But I think if he's able to play every day at third like you would want him to, because you see him as a cornerstone of this organization moving forward, his ceiling is so high with the talent that he has, and getting some time off to where he's having time off to rest, recover, and work on his game rather than rest and recover from an injury. His ceiling is through the roof. I think he could just really turn it on in the second half and figure this out. Do you have a difference in opinion on who you think has the highest ceiling moving into the second half of the year, or are you all in on Marte as well?
No, I'm all in on Marte. Earlier in the year when he was hot, it was just really, really good and nice to see. He was, as you said, just absolutely scorching the ball. And, maybe it was a little bit of an unfair question compared to Lux and Benson because they're more platoon bats, but we should be seeing Marte pretty much every day out there playing third. Tito will have his days where he starts twitching and he's like, man, I need to get Espinal in. But for the most part, I think Marte will play third, and I don't know how much more we'll see of CES in general. I don't know how much more of CES we'll see at third. Hopefully not much more at third. I didn't really like that experience. But yeah, I think Marte should be the guy for the rest of the year at third. Unless they buy and, make an addition, but we'll see if that happens.
No, so if they do buy and make an addition, especially that would benefit the lineup, I would not expect it to come at the hot corner. I still think the outfield is the best place to add a bat. I just don't see it as of yet. I really think you have to let Noelvi Marte actually have some time in the bigs where he's figuring it out. And he's learning on the fly. He's still young. I believe he's 23 or 24 years old. So it's tough to say that he's a bust or that he's a future cornerstone guy at third. We just haven't seen enough of him to know what he is yet, and that's why I think it's so important to play him at third if he's healthy every single day, is so we can figure this out. And then on the CES front, currently with the way Steer's been hitting the ball as of late, his defensive prowess at first, obviously he's not your prototypical first baseman size-wise, but he's been solid over there pretty much all year long. And with the way he's been hitting the ball lately, there's no spot outside of DH that you can put CES at right now, in my opinion. He's not going to play in the outfield. third base is, I mean, it's miserable watching him play third base. It's almost Candelario bad defensively. And then at first, if you can't take Steer out of the lineup, where are you going to put him? So I just don't know how much we're going to see of him, period, moving forward into the second half. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully he turns it around. But that said, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I do wonder. I think CES is a guy who could be traded. There's just kind of no room for him. We know he can hit in AAA, so it's like why send him down again? But then there's not many on the other side. There's not many bats like him in the organization who are just power hitters, and that's something the Reds lack. So if he's gonna be here, he needs to hit, and he hasn't, and um, he just isn't really going to get much opportunity. If this is how it's going to be, and if Fraley's going to come back, I would think he would be sent down. Maybe Benson, but I really hope they don't send Benson down. I would think CS would be the guy they send down, um, but we'll see. And Jake Fraley the other day, I think, went on a rehab assignment yesterday. I shocked. From the initial reporting, it sounded like he was going to be out for a long time. So that could be a welcome addition. I would think like this weekend, it's possible that he's back. Because he's only been out, what, 2 weeks? So I wouldn't think he needs the longest rehab assignment ever, but we'll see.
I wouldn't think so either. I'm kind of cautious with the torn, I believe it was a partially torn labrum is what they said that he had. So hopefully he's fine. I don't know which shoulder it's in. So if it's throwing arm, that is a big issue because then that takes away Gavin Lux in the DH spot against right-handed pitching. But nonetheless, we'll move on to the bullpen availability this evening. I think you're without Richardson, and that's it. Obviously, Jose Trevino likely unavailable after he threw 2 innings yesterday. But that's about it. So I'm hoping we don't have to see Jose Trevino pitch ever again. It is funny watching him pitch. Fraley surgery after the year is what it does sound like. Shout out to Jacob Doyle, very active in the chat. But what do you think about the bullpen tonight? If Abbott struggles like he did in Philadelphia, who do you think's first out of the pen? Because Richardson is not the option, it seems, to go long innings, and also he threw, I believe, 20 some odd pitches last night.
I think if, worst case scenario, they're down by a lot, I think Richardson, they could just throw him out there and be like, hey, just give us 2 innings and we'll send you down tomorrow to get a fresh arm. But I think Ashcraft could come in early tonight, maybe Barlow as well. It seems like they like using Barlow before Ashcraft, so I think that's a possibility. And I just want Abbott to go deep into this game, and so we don't have to watch much of the bullpen because they stink. Like, it's not that they're not enjoyable to watch right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think the bullpen is just going to continue to be a big topic, especially if guys continue to struggle. The only guy who's really been locked down is Pagan, and he hasn't been great every game, but Pagan has just been, the safety net at the back of the bullpen. So hopefully we get to see Pagan pitch tonight. I think that'd be best case scenario.
Yeah, obviously, best case scenario is seeing Pagan. Definitely your 9th inning guy, but I believe the last time that he threw was on Friday. So don't believe that he will not pitch tonight in a tie game, and maybe the 8th, maybe the 9th, either or, if that were to be the case. So it's I don't know, vibes are just way down right now, but hopefully the Reds are able to pick it up. We are looking at a possible weather delay around 7 o'clock. There's like a 20% chance of rain, but weather's in the mid-80s tonight. National League Central update: the Cubs lost last night 8-1 against Minnesota. They play them again at 7:40. Cardinals are hosting the Nationals at 7:45. Pirates are in Kansas City at 7:40 as well, and then the Brewers, with their satanic devil magic, just swept the Los Angeles Dodgers. I just don't understand how the Brewers are always good. I'm a Packers fan, so I understand Wisconsin sports, and I see a lot of it. The Packers are always good. I don't know if that bled down from Green Bay into Milwaukee, something in the water up there in the Dairy State, but they're just always so good, and frankly, it pisses me off. I just wish the Reds were operated the same way that the Brewers are. Nonetheless, do you have any predictions for this game tonight? Hopefully, a Reds win is in the cards.
I watched that Brewers Dodgers game, the end of it, and I saw the Dodgers take the lead, and I was very happy. And then all of a sudden they lose, and they've lost 6 in a row. It's pretty interesting, but they've been ravaged with pitching injuries. But as far as the Reds tonight, I am expecting a loss just to try and change the vibes up. I feel like I always predict a win, so maybe that'll switch things up. But I say the Reds lose, and Augustine Ramirez hits 2 homers.
I mean, I'll stick with it. Kyle Stowers is going to hit a pinch hit grand slam in the 8th off of Emilio Pagan in a tie game because we threw him out there. That's what I'm going to go with.
What a
real
nightmare.
Prediction. Oh my, real nightmare. I'll cry. It'd be like 4 or 5 years ago when Josh Vanmeter hit a home run to tie it against the Reds. I remember that happening. Real prediction for me, I think Will Benson goes deep tonight. I think Sandy might hang him a breaking ball. He seems like the one guy that can actually hit changeups most of the time. But I definitely think that Will Benson has the opportunity to send one into the moon deck out in right field. Reminder about the post-game show. We appreciate you guys watching us here on the pregame show. This is our second show this week, and we'll be on again next Wednesday. Well, no, we won't be on next Wednesday. It's the All-Star break. So I'll have to check the schedule and see when we're on again. But
2 Wednesdays
thank
from
you all
now.
for watching. Yeah, 2 Wednesdays from now. So you all have a little bit of a break from us and hopefully a break from Reds losses. But Trace and Nick will be live in the 9th. Be sure to tune in there as they'll have post-game coverage. We appreciate you guys watching. For Max Alfonso, I'm Hunter Hurst. We'll see you guys next time. Go Reds.